Hello, welcome to Nate Never Flicks. I'm Nate, you're you, and I've got more horror news for you, so let's get to it. Up first, HBO has just agreed to a deal that will allow them to adapt the Hellraiser franchise into a TV series. Now, when I say that, what do you feel? Are you excited? Because I have to say, I am. I'm admittedly a very casual Hellraiser fan. You know, the first one I think is one of the best horror movies of all time. I love the concept. I think what Clive Barker came up with is incredible. I think the character designs are original and unique and just creepy as all hell. And then that second movie I think is relatively strong too. Then from there, you know, there are some real valleys in this franchise. The Weinstein Company, you know, they would have a script that they didn't know what to do with, that had been gathering a lot of dust, and they'd go, I don't know, but we don't have a Pinhead script, so throw him in there. And that's why a lot of those movies were kind of weak. So I think it'll be awesome to see HBO take this series, start with Pinhead and the Cenobites right there at the center of things, and then flesh everything out from there the way it should be done. I'm also really encouraged because it has been said that the pilot episode, as well as a few other episodes, will be directed by David Gordon Green, the man behind reinvigorating Michael Myers in Halloween 2018. So I think that bodes really well for Pinhead. I also think it's a really good sign that the writers behind this have also done things like Daredevil as of late. They've done Godzilla King of Monsters, which, you know, there's issues with that, but not terrible. And then Trick or Treat, that's what I'm really excited about, because you look at Trick or Treat, that is that beautiful little gem of a horror film. It shows you that they understand horror, much like David Gordon Green does. And then you just have the folks at HBO who really are on a roll lately with adapting these darker properties. I'm referring to the Watchmen series and then the Stephen King's The Outsider series. You know, both of those have received a ton of clout. They really seem to strike a chord with people. So it tells me they know what to do with this type of material. So obviously, you know, I'm glass half full on this. How do you feel about it? Are you a big Hellraiser fan? If you are, you're excited, right? I mean, you get to see more of your boy. He's in pretty capable hands, or at least it seems. And then, you know, maybe if this series goes really well, it can really bolster the franchise back to, you know, old heights. And then, you know, maybe you can see Pinhead on the silver screen again. I think that would be great. Be sure to comment below how you feel about this news. For our second story, quick question. How'd you feel about Seed of Chucky? More importantly, how'd you feel about Glenn/Glenda? Because that's probably going to really go a long way in determining how you're going to feel about the Sci-Fi TV series. That's right, Sci-Fi has announced that there are going to be a lot of parallels between this new series and what was done with Seed of Chucky. So let's get into specifics here. It was announced that the protagonist of the story will be a middle school boy. He will be a homosexual character, and the doll he acquires at a yard sale, the good guy doll, will be homosexual as well. So I guess this means it will not be Chucky, because obviously we know Chucky, he's not a gay icon or gay character himself. So I suppose maybe Don Mancini is trying to do something different with the television series. You know, over here we'll have Charles Lee Ray doing his thing in movies, and then on TV we'll have a different good guy doll. But yes, the doll will be gay, and so will the protagonist, which, all right, fine by me. I don't have any issues with that. That's not really what I'm hinting at here as maybe being a problem. But first, let's talk more about what we know plot-wise. So the boy is going to get this doll at the yard sale, and then he's going to then take it to his school, which I'm all for. Imagine the shenanigans this doll can get up to in a middle school. You know, it can unleash all holy hell, really run amok with a whole bunch of different characters. So that is great as well. It's just the insistence on this character being very Glenn-like. You know, it's very gossipy at this point. It's very rumory. So that doesn't mean that it's absolutely going to happen that way. But for me, Glenn and Seed of Chucky, they represent an all-time low for this franchise. So it's a little head-scratching that you'd want to go that direction. Again, this is all talk, so it's all hearsay at this point. But it wouldn't surprise me, because Don Mancini seems to really love to make befuddling decisions with this franchise. He is responsible for a lot of the highs, but also a lot of the lows. And when he messes stuff up, he really messes stuff up. So how do you feel about it? How'd you feel about the remake? Because, you know, that may also inform how you feel about this. I know a lot of purists hated on that remake because it wasn't Brad Dourif, it wasn't Jennifer Tilly, it wasn't Don Mancini, and they will be involved with this series. So are you looking forward to this series? I have to admit, Me, not so much. I want more details. I'm mixed on it at best at this point. How do you feel about the Glenn/Glenda character? Do you hate him or her as much as so many other people tend to? Or do you think that is a cool little character and that kind of representation was overdue in the horror genre? Be sure to comment below. And lastly, the creator of the Art the Clown character in the movie Terrifier recently took to his social media to let fans know he's still very, very optimistic that we will get Terrifier 2 in 2020. So, great. I mean, I'm a little dubious on it, but I'm gonna hold out hope that we will. He says that they did not wrap up principal photography before they were forced to shut down by the pandemic. So that right there, that's going to be a real hurdle. But he does say that they had a ton of footage in the can and that they should only have a few days of shooting left once they are allowed to finally get back together. He says that they actually have enough footage that he was able to, he's able to watch it and get a taste of what this movie is. He really likes the way things are coming together and he thinks fans are going to love it. He even says they have enough footage that, you might be getting a little teaser here soon. So there you go, tease a teaser. I would be excited to see what the movie is going to look like. I'm actually really interested in what the cinematography will look like for this movie, because that was one thing I was a little bit feeling with Terrifier. And then as far as plot, we know that Art the Clown is going to be summoned to stalk down and terrorize a teenage girl and her younger brother, which to me is kind of like bringing Art back to his roots. That sounds a lot like the plot of All Hallows Eve, another movie starring Art the Clown. If you have not seen All Hallows Eve, I highly recommend you check it out. I think it really has a lot going for it, even though it has a very low budget. There's a whole lot of interesting concepts going on. It's a little bit of an anthology film, but there are some really cool sequences in there. And if you haven't seen Terrifier, you maybe owe it to yourself to check that out. I can't promise you're gonna love it. You might hate it. Art the Clown, Terrifier, very, very polarizing. I don't know if there's been a movie recently quite like Terrifier in the way that it divides people, but people are passionate about the film. You either love Art the Clown and Terrifier or you absolutely hate him. You either think he is the new horror icon, you think he, goes back to the 80s slasher kind of days, but ratchets up the gore and the violence and, really ups the ante in the best way, or you just think this is a really distasteful, unnecessarily brutal, just gory mess. And it's not up your alley, and that's fine. Whichever side you land on, be sure to let me know how you feel about it. I myself am actually one of the few kind of caught in the middle. When I first watched Terrifier, I was like, this isn't for me. I don't like what they're doing here. This is not what I'm about. And the next day I kept thinking about the movie, and the next day I thought about it some more. And the next month I was still thinking about Art the Clown and Terrifier, and I was like, that's a really cool performance that they did with Art the Clown. And this scene was actually kind of cool, and he's creepy, but he's kind of funny. He's really iconic in a lot of ways. The next thing I know, I was like, I think I like Art the Clown. So I went and watched All Hallows Eve, and I liked that. And so I've officially kind of turned, and I'm like, all right, win me over completely. Give me a great movie with Terrifier 2, and I will be completely on board with you. So was that your experience with Terrifier? Or did you just see it right away and you knew exactly that this guy had your heart, you're an Art the Clown super fan? Or did you know right away that, nah, not for me, screw Art the Clown? Be sure to comment below. But there you go, guys. That's our news. So we got all sorts of stuff here with Pinhead, Chucky, and Art the Clown. Right now, we can't go to the theaters and see movies, but it looks like brighter days are ahead. We have some really cool horror stuff coming up on the horizon. But on that, you have a fantastic day. I'm Nate for Nate Flick saying that's a wrap.